In this module, Quality Assurance. This module explains how formal quality management is applied to drug safety work. It covers the pharmacovigilance quality system required by GVP Module Y, the pharmacovigilance system master file, deviations, root cause analysis, and CAPA, quality metrics, data integrity, and validated computerized systems. Learning outcomes. Explain where good pharmacovigilance practice sits in the GXP family and what GVP Module I requires of a quality system. Describe the quality cycle and the role of controlled documents, standard operating procedures, and training records. Outline the purpose, content, location, and maintenance of the pharmacovigilance system master file under GVP Module 2. Apply deviation management, root cause analysis, and corrective and preventive action to a late case reporting failure. Quality in drug safety, GXP and GVP Module I. GXP is the family of good practice standards, good clinical, laboratory, manufacturing, distribution, documentation, and pharmacovigilance practice. Each covers a different regulated activity, but all share the same logic of written procedures, trained people, controlled records, and independent checking. GVP Module 1 is titled Pharmacovigilance Systems and Their Quality Systems and applies to marketing authorization holders, the EMA, and national competent authorities. Module 1 defines quality as all the characteristics of the system which are considered to produce outcomes relevant to the objectives of pharmacovigilance. The quality cycle in pharmacovigilance. GVP Module I builds the quality system on 4 activities that run as a continuous cycle rather than as a one-off project. Quality planning means establishing structures and planning integrated and consistent processes before the work begins. Quality adherence means carrying out tasks and responsibilities in accordance with the quality requirements that have been set. Quality control and assurance means monitoring and evaluating how effectively the structures and processes have been established. SOPs, training records and controlled documents. Module Y requires quality elements to be documented systematically as written policies and procedures, such as quality plans, quality manuals, and quality records. A controlled document carries a unique identifier, a version number, an author, an approver, an effective date, and a scheduled review date. Superseded versions are formally withdrawn and archived rather than deleted, so you can always show which version applied on a given date. Module Y requires a sufficient number of competent, appropriately qualified and trained personnel, with initial and continued training documented in training plans. The Pharmacovigilance System Master File. GVP Module 2 covers the Pharmacovigilance System Master File, the document that describes the marketing authorization holder pharmacovigilance system. Content includes the qualified person responsible for pharmacovigilance, organizational structure, sources of safety data, computerized systems, processes, performance, and the quality system. Annexes hold supporting details such as lists of procedural documents, computerized systems, contractual arrangements, performance indicators, audits, and products. A logbook records every change with the date, the person responsible for the change, and the nature of the change. Deviations, non-conformances, and change control. A deviation is an unplanned departure from an approved procedure or requirement. A non-conformance is a failure to meet a defined requirement. Record deviations promptly. What happened, when it was detected, how it was detected, which cases or products are affected, and what containment was applied. Assess impact before anything else. Is a case reportable? Is a submission now late? And does the safety profile of the product change? Change control handles planned change, database upgrades, procedure revisions, new vendors, reorganizations, new product acquisitions, and process redesign. Root cause analysis, 5 whys, and fishbone. Root cause analysis asks why a failure was possible, not who made the mistake. The output should be a system weakness you can actually change. Worked 5 whys problem. A serious case was submitted on day 21 against a 15 calendar day requirement. Why 1, the case reached the safety database on day 12. Why 2, it arrived in the medical information mailbox and sat unforwarded for 6 days. Why 3, that mailbox is only checked when the named duty officer is on site. Why 4, the procedure names one duty officer and no deputy. Worked caper, a late case reporting deviation. Deviation. One serious case submitted on day 21 against a 15 calendar day requirement detected by the monthly compliance report. Correction, immediate. Submit the case, then review every case received through the same mailbox in the previous 3 months for further breaches. Corrective action. Revise the intake procedure to name a primary and a deputy reviewer with a documented mailbox check every working day. Preventive action. Schedule an annual review of all intake routes against volumes and apply the same deputy cover control to affiliate mailboxes. Quality metrics and KPIs. GVP module. I-expects processes for monitoring data, timely submission, data quality, and effective communication. Metrics make that monitoring visible. Late case reporting is the headline metric. Expedited cases submitted outside the applicable clock, expressed as a count and as a percentage. Worked figure, 8 late submissions out of 400 expedited cases in a quarter is 2% late, or 98% on time compliance. Other useful indicators include periodic report and risk management plan, submission timeliness, literature screening completion, and signal validation turnaround. ISH-Q9 and ISH-Q10. ISH-Q9 is the harmonized guideline on quality risk management. The revised Q9R1 became legally effective in the European Union on 26 July 2023. Q9 sets a systematic process for assessing, controlling, communicating, and reviewing risk, with effort proportionate to the level of risk. A core Q9 principle is that the evaluation of risk to quality should be based on scientific knowledge and ultimately linked to protection of the patient. ICH-Q10 describes a pharmaceutical quality system covering process performance monitoring, corrective and preventive action, change management and management review. Data integrity and ALCOA Plus. ALCOA Plus means attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original and accurate, plus complete, consistent, enduring and available. The MHRA published GXP data integrity guidance and definitions in March 2018, covering all GXP areas rather than manufacturing alone. Worked failure. A safety officer notes a follow-up telephone call on a loose sheet of paper and types it into the database 3 days later, unattributed. That single act breaches contemporaneous because of the delay, attributable because no author is identified, and original because the note is then discarded. Computerized systems, validation and controls. Safety databases, literature screening tools, and document management systems are GXP computerized systems and must be validated before use. Validation is documented evidence that the system consistently does what it is specified to do, covering specification, risk assessment, testing, and release. It is lifecycle work, not a one-off event. Change control, periodic review, backup and restore testing, and controlled decommissioning all follow. ISPI GAMP 5, 2nd edition, published in 2022, sets out the standard risk-based approach to compliant GXP computerized systems. Pharmacovigilance audits, GVP Module I4. Module 4 defines an audit as a systematic, disciplined, independent, and documented process for obtaining evidence and evaluating it objectively against audit criteria. Audits are risk-based, focusing on areas of highest risk to the pharmacovigilance system, including its quality system for pharmacovigilance activities. Planning runs at 3 levels: an audit strategy usually covering 2 to 5 years, an audit program normally covering 1 year, and individual audit plans. The risk-based program must cover the quality system, critical pharmacovigilance processes, key control systems relied upon, and areas identified as high risk. Inspections and inspection readiness. GVP Module 3 covers inspections by competent authorities of marketing authorization holders and of any firms employed to fulfill their pharmacovigilance obligations. Routine inspections are scheduled in advance with no specific trigger, using a risk-based approach. For cause inspections follow a recognized trigger. Inspections may be system or product related, pre-authorization or post-authorization, remote or on-site. The majority are announced in advance. Consequences range from education and facilitation through warning letters to suspension or revocation of the marketing authorization and product recalls. Vendor and partner oversight. Marketing authorization holders remain accountable for pharmacovigilance even where activities are contracted to service providers, affiliates, or licensing partners. GVP Module 3 confirms that inspectors may examine firms employed to fulfill the marketing authorization holder pharmacovigilance obligations, whether inside or outside the EU. A safety data exchange agreement sets out who collects what, exchange timelines, reconciliation, literature handling, signal responsibilities, periodic reports, and audit rights. Exchange clocks must be workable in practice because the regulatory clock runs from first receipt rather than from the date the partner passed the case on. That completes this module. The key takeaways and suggested further reading are summarized on the slide. The full references for this module are listed on the slide for your further reading.